This is the SANDF, where no dream is too big to dream and no triumph too small to celebrate. Where split moments stay cherished in our hearts forever. Where a helping hand is always within reach, on land or at sea. When we shine, the whole world comes alight. We're inspired by the sacrifices, commitment, and loyalty of our veterans who have strived to protect and defend the country at all times. The SANDF, service beyond duty.
The low levels of serviceability on the prime mission equipment have a huge impact on the combat readiness of the South African National Defence Force, thus impeding on the execution of the South African National Defence Force's constitutional mandate, that is, to safeguard our borders and territorial integrity. In addition, the critical situation of an important part of the military and electromedical equipment caused by the lack of systems to control the utilization, maintenance, repair and preservation thereof due to structural problems, lack of trained staff and the dismantled and deteriorated technical supports infrastructure has given rise to a decrease in the South African National Defence Force's technical support capabilities, thereby depending highly upon the private industry and incurring millions in expenses. The Department of Defence has completed its defence review and is currently implementing recommendations in terms of the set milestones. In this regard, the South African National Defence Force is compelled to capacitate its members in the professional and technical environment to ensure they are competent to execute tasks and responsibilities related to the achievements of Milestone 1. It was from this point that the Ministry of Defence and military veterans of the Republic of South Africa, based upon a diagnosis and prior consultation and analysis in the Defence Council, also having as an antecedent an agreement on defence cooperation signed by the governments of both the Republic of South Africa and the Republic of Cuba on 10 January 2012. A delegation from the South African National Defence Force, led by the Chief of the South African National Defence Force, General Solly Shoke, subsequently visited Cuba with the intention to formalize assistance from the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Cuba regarding the provision of professional and technical services to the South African National Defence Force.
From the inception of this project, the Chief of the Defence Force had a visit before 2014. And in 2014, he called me to join him to visit Cuba, where he went to finalize the agreement of the Cubans to come to South Africa to come and assist us in repairing our vehicles, especially the B vehicles that are used by our soldiers, both inside the country and as well as in the operational areas.
It was agreed that a team of specialists from the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Cuba will be seconded to the Republic of South Africa to assist the South African National Defence Force. The agreement was signed on 18 August 2014 and was promulgated since September the same year, whereby 74 South African students were sent to Cuba in order to be trained as specialists. Thus, we see the birth of Project Thusano, which means helping each other, with the main objective and focus being to assist the Department of Defence to arrest Milestone 1 of the Defence Review, which is to arrest the decline in critical capabilities through immediate and directed interventions.
The reason why we had to invite the Cubans, it was simply because of their expertise. Cubans are known for a high level of literacy and good education. They have also survived this American embargo for more than 50 years and kept their old vehicle fleet running. That is what attracted us.
The agreement provides for the rendering of services by the Cuban Revolutionary Armed Forces to the South African National Defence Force in fields of training of technicians, advisory services on technical support, deactivation, preservation, and maintenance and repair of prime mission equipment. Services in this agreement are directed towards the South African Army, South African Air Force, and South African Military Health Services. The agreement is also aimed at making the respective services less reliant on the private sector for the upkeep of its prime mission equipment.
The SA Army had a problem of prime mission equipment serviceability. They tried to put a lot of money in raising this serviceability, and the serviceability kept on getting worse. Then we came up with the solution of inviting the Cubans to come and help.
The way I see it is, this is an excellent idea. Previously, the technical members, they were trained, they know how to do their job, but the Cubans has got a passion, a drive.
It's probably the first time in a long time that we've been able to accurately gauge our inventory of stock, as well as long-term preservation and storage of our spares. So it's an absolutely fantastic opportunity that we have here, and also for the training of our Air Force members and the skills transfers.
Working with the Cubans has been a very good, I can say it has taught us a lot of things, working hard, fixing our own things in South Africa. The Cubans here in South Africa have really changed the way us as soldiers were working. I can say it has brought a positive thing.
Since January 2015, 93 Cuban specialists arrived in South Africa with the aim of rendering technical and professional services through personnel training, know-how transfer, application of technologies and systems organization, and working out recommendations on the definitions of policies and systems.
This has been a golden opportunity for me as a young lady. I've got the opportunity to be an auto electrician, work with the Cubans. Despite the language barrier, we've been able to work together. They have stretched our ability to build looms so that we don't outsource the vehicles and that we can save money in the Defence Force.
As for me as an instrument personnel, I thought maybe I knew a lot of stuff. But it seems like when I started working with them now, they are quite professionals in what they do. And they do everything according to the book. So what I've learned from them is that whatever you do, you must use the book.
Because what we have realized during their work is that when we give them what they want in terms of the spares and the equipment that they're supposed to use, then they're able to do more than we expect.
They were subsequently divided into transport speciality, whereby 57 members are currently working on maintenance, repair, preservation and deactivation of military vehicles, creating systems and personnel training. Air Force speciality, whereby 18 engineers are responsible for technical assistance in organizing the maintenance, repair and preservation systems of combat aircrafts, transport aircrafts and helicopters. Military Health Services, whereby 7 specialists advising on the preparation for creating the conditions that will enable both to start training doctors in the South African National Defence Force, as well as the repair and maintenance of medical equipment.
They are more hard workers, they've got more experience. With them, I think we're gonna go a very long, good way.
The project of Cubans is more to repair the vehicles that are here under SAMS. And also we have the other group of Cubans that are responsible for repairing medical equipment. And the third group is 2 advisors that are advising SAMS on how to start and manage medical training center. It's a center that in future would want to train our own doctors, that is from within the organization as such.
In the SA Army, we have 53 members. We have another 9 that is working at the medical services. The total that is in the country is about 93, just below 100.
We have about 60 qualified artisans and 62 apprentices currently on the floor. The apprentices has got this opportunity in the workplace area to confirm their theoretical knowledge and to make sure that the hand skills will also improve. The apprentices are rotated from our TS training center to our workshops on a 3-monthly and sometimes 6-monthly basis.
The average turnaround time per vehicle is 10 days under Project Thusano, compared to the industry, which is not less than 20 days per vehicle, depending on the type of repair. Currently, each workshop is repairing 12 vehicles per month on average. Therefore, 36 vehicles can be repaired per month should all spares be made available, whilst depot-level spares turnaround time is not less than 2 months.
We used to outsource the vehicles to be repaired, but the turnaround time for us to receive those vehicles back, when you send a vehicle for a service and you get it after 3 months, you send a vehicle for repair, it comes after 6 months. That has got a very big damage in force preparation inside the country for soldiers to train and to be ready to go into the battle.
What I like about the Cubans' approach is that they bring in the vehicle, they check everything. They don't just see what is fault on the surface. As a matter of fact, 3 weeks ago we had a vehicle that was repaired last year by the industry, but the bearing was so worn out, and then because of their approach they found that this bearing was worn, and we replaced the bearing, whereas the normal approach is you just fix what you see is wrong. Yeah, they check everything.
The Cubans have introduced the concept of deactivation as a source of savings for the Department of Defense, which will allow utilizing the serviceable parts. This will also permit to commercialize the scrap as a source of income and will avoid buying new parts. Deactivation is part of disposal, a process of completely reducing a vehicle into spares and components. Its purpose is to source unavailable spares and components also no longer in the market in order to sustain the rest of the fleet. Recovered spares are tested, repaired, packed and preserved for future utilization. It helps to reduce the spares that must be purchased and addresses the unavailability of spares.
The project has got 2 legs. The first leg is the addressing of the serviceability of our prime mission equipment. The second leg is building capacity so that we can in-source our maintenance and repair of our prime mission equipment in future. So the bulk of the work that is being done now is first on maintenance and repair, preservation, as well as deactivation. We are also on the second leg having advisors that are going to assist us in building capacity now for the future so that we can do our own maintenance and repair.
In the South African Army, the technological flow of 4 workshops have been restored and 8 hangars have been maintained, repaired and cleaned to be utilized for storing vehicles. Deactivation and component repairs have been implemented as savings policies. 93 apprentices have been trained and are capable of carrying out their work alone. Specialist training programs have been worked out and are going to be carried out during the 3rd term with the aim of training the South African specialists.
Working with the Cubans was a great experience. We shared a lot of things. It wasn't just work. It was also, the culture, how they live and how we live here. And also with the skills, we shared a lot of skills together, what they know from Cuba and what we also know here. So the experience really was amazing. I think there's still a lot more that we still have to exchange.
A lot of initiative has come from this exercise. There was a shortage of electrical harnesses on the vehicles, and with the Cuban delegation and our own artisans including some of our apprentices, we have started to build our own harnesses according to the specifications. We have also done a vehicle test bench where we're starting the engines before we replace the engines in the vehicles.
What I've noticed is they are very experienced, they specialize in what they do. I've learned a lot with them, and they've even did some modifications on my test bench and to improve my testing procedures and everything.
I'm not qualified in any way, but I came as a driver. But the time I spent here, because they put me to help the auto electrician. So since I came here, the 18 March, they came here to help. And since I work with auto electrician, I have learned a lot about the whole system of the electrical system here at preservation. Like, he taught me how to disassemble the starter motor. We take it out of the car and clean it, and all the components that are there, we clean it, we spray it with the lubricant so that it can function a long time, because this is a preservation where the car is going to stand for a long time. It's not going to run like the normal vehicles.
I've learned a lot from them because they've got a lot of experience, and I've learned so much from them.
Our relationship with them is quite good. They are quite informative, very smart chaps. They keep us on our feet. There's no rest when they're here. They help get the job done a lot quicker because they're so smart and experienced, you know.
In the South African Air Force, skills transfer or specialist knowledge exchange is performed on a continuous basis. 43 recommendations for systems improvement and 4 programs for personnel training were submitted that was aimed at gradually decreasing the dependence upon the foreign companies in terms of Air Force technical support and reducing exodus of specialists. In the South African Military Health Services, there are 38 Reserve Force members working with the Cuban mechanics. 10 trainees have been identified for biotechnicians, and the South African Military Health Services is always still looking for more capable and interested members. There are 20 members currently studying for biomedical technician and 3 members for motor mechanics at the Centurion West College. The South African Army has future plans to build its own internal technical maintenance capability in order to be able to perform maintenance and repair activities up to depot level repair and outsource only specialized tasks that cannot be performed internally. Savings will be utilized to procure the required workshop equipment to build internal capacity and procuring of spares. Young soldiers, both men and women, are attached for empowerment, creating internal capacity within the Department of Defence, thus reducing youth unemployment in South Africa and promoting the South African National Defence Force as the employer of choice. This project promotes lifelong learning that creates opportunities.
With the Cubans, we have attached some young soldiers so that they are taught how to repair these vehicles, so that once they leave or upon completion of the project, they will be empowered to repair our vehicles. We won't need to send our vehicles out into the private sector, which is costing the department a lot of money. Now, by so doing, that is helping our young people to empower themselves, is another way of employing them, that is reducing unemployment out there of the young people.
In turn, those members of our defense force will be able now to impart the young ones that we are going to recruit to be mechanics also, to impart that knowledge and to train them, and therefore now expanding our capability to other bases.
I've improved so many things. I've gained a lot since I started working with them. I've gained a real experience that I can somehow take it somewhere.
Out there it's hard to find a job. and my job is very interesting. I love it.
As a young lady, as an auto electrician, it's very challenging, but it is a great honor to be an auto electrician. I've learned a lot as an auto electrician. The Cubans have taught us a lot, cleanliness, that we should try to repair rather than outsourcing the vehicles. Also, they have stretched our abilities, and yeah, it has been a great pleasure working with them.
So here we get the exposure to work on this component on daily basis.
The results of the work performed to date and the implementation of the projections and proposals that are being worked out will enable to reverse the current situation and greatly reduce defense expenditures.
It has saved a lot of money for the defense force side. Because, for instance, there are components which are much expensive. Like if, for instance, we take the starter motor of the SAML 50, normally once it is dysfunctional, you simply remove it there at unit level and take it out and put the new one. With this operation, taking them out and repairing them ourselves, so we saved about, for per vehicle, about 50,000 just for a starter.
At the same time, it would increase the combat capabilities of the South African National Defence Force. Currently, the Department of Defence is depending on industry on all levels of repair, with millions of rand being spent annually, whilst internal capability can execute the repairs provided it is fully capacitated. Therefore, through Project Thusano, the solution to the current problem ensures the building of internal capacity and capability through training of personnel. Workshops are currently being equipped, existing workshop facilities are being revamped, and plans are underway to integrate the technical support systems. Outsourcing will be managed through proper quality control mechanisms.
Yes.